I eat beef and salt and water. That's it. And I never cheat. Ever. Not even a little bit. Here's what happened. I lost 50 pounds. I lost 7 pounds every month for 7 months. It's like I had to throw away all my clothes. I went back to the same weight that I was when I was 26. I'm nowhere near as hungry as I used to be. My appetite's probably fallen by 70%. I don't get blood sugar dysregulation problems. And I'd already gone for a whole year on a sugar-free diet and I didn't lose any weight.
Sugar-free, but did you cut out bread and gluten?
No. It was just no desserts, no sugar. No, and I thought that might do it. Didn't make any difference at all. I need way less sleep. I get up in the morning and I'm fine. I'm not anxious. I'm not depressed. I don't have psoriasis. My legs were numb on the sides. That's gone. I'm certainly intellectually at my best at the moment.
I stopped snoring. I had some autoimmune conditions that seem to have gone away. I'm not taking antidepressants. I sleep much less. I can work more.
I had gastric reflux disorder and I was snoring quite a lot. I stopped snoring the first week. That's supposed to be associated with weight loss because I had gained some weight. I weighed about 212 pounds and I'm about 6'1½", so that was my maximum weight. I stopped snoring. That just quit, and that's a big deal, right? Because if you snore, you have sleep apnea and then you don't sleep right, and it's like not a good thing. I started waking up in the mornings. I'd never been able to wake up in the mornings my whole life. I always had to stumble to the shower and then maybe I could wake up. It took me an hour and I felt terrible. And so all of a sudden I woke up and it was like, oh, look at that. I'm awake in the morning and I'm clear-headed and things aren't gloomy and horrible. It's like, well, isn't that weird?
Just beef. Can you have like ketchup on it?
Nothing.
I've been on a pure carnivore diet for about 2 months and a very, very low carb, greens only, modified carnivore diet for about a year.
I've known you for what, 2.5 years now, something like that?
Yeah.
When I first met you, you had much more weight on your body.
Yeah.
You looked different.
Yeah.
And back then you were eating like the standard diet, right? Like normal people do.
Yes.
Pasta, bread, meat, chicken, whatever.
Yes.
Right? You shifted over to only meat and greens. I saw you and I'm like, you look fantastic. I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, I changed my diet. I only eat meat and greens. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. Well, I felt like, okay, what you're doing is cutting out refined sugars and all these different things that are problematic, preservatives, all the bullshit, processed foods, and you're having this extreme health benefit. And I was like, wow, that's really excellent. You're showing great discipline. Then you decided to take it to another place and cut out the greens.
Yeah, I know.
What was the motivation for cutting out the greens?
Well, all of the motivation for this has been my experience with my daughter because she has an unbelievably serious autoimmune disease.
What is it called?
Well, it's arthritis, but there's way more to it than that. But the arthritis was the major set of symptoms. She had 40 affected joints, and she had to have her hip replaced and her ankle replaced when she was 15 and 16. And so she basically hobbled around on 2 broken legs for 2 years in extreme agony. And that was just a tiny fraction of the whole set of problems. She is doing so well now. It is absolutely beyond comprehension. She's down to about 118 pounds. She's about 5'6". She's just glowing with health. All of her autoimmune symptoms are gone, all of them. And she was also seriously depressed, like severely depressed, way worse than you think. She couldn't stay awake for more than about 6 hours without taking Ritalin. And she was dying. And I had a cousin, my cousin's daughter, she died when she was 30 from an associated autoimmune condition. So there's a fair bit of this in our family. It was bloody bleak, I'll tell you. Anyways, Michaela noticed about 3 years ago, no more than that now, 5 years ago, she was at Concordia University and struggling with her illness and all the associated problems. She noticed that around exam time, she was starting to develop real skin problems. And she thought, oh, it must be stress. And then she thought, wait a second, I really changed my diet. When I'm studying, all I do is eat bagels. All I do is eat bread, sandwiches. She thought, maybe it's the bread. So she cut out gluten first. And it had a remarkable effect, like a really remarkable effect. And then she went on a radical elimination diet all the way down to nothing but chicken and broccoli. And then her symptoms started to drop off one by one. And one of the things that happened is she started to wake up in the morning. She started to be able to stay awake all day. And when you're only staying awake for 6 hours with Ritalin, staying awake all day, that's like having a life. And so a whole bunch of things improved. Then her depression went away. And I've had depression since I was 13 probably, and very severe. And I've treated it a variety of ways, some of them quite successfully. But it's been a constant battle, and my father had it, and his father had it, and it's all just rife in my family.
When you say depression, define it.
Well, imagine that you wake up and that you remember that all your family was killed in a horrible accident yesterday.
You would feel that even if nothing was wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Just
It's
dread.
actually worse than that. Imagine you have a dog and you really love the dog, and then the dog dies. And then about 3 years ago, our dog died. And that was Michaela's dog, and she really liked that dog. And she said, that was bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as being depressed. And I asked her too at one point when she was about 15 or 16. I said, look, you've got a choice, kid. Here's the choice. You can either have depression or arthritis. Which one? I'll take the arthritis. Well, that was after she'd lost 2 joints. So it was no joke. Anyways, her depression went away. All these symptoms went away. And like radically.
So what changed her from chicken and broccoli to carnivore?
She kept experimenting, and she got very sensitive to all sorts of foods in the aftermath of that too. So she started to add things back and take them away. And sometimes when she added things, the results were devastating. All the symptoms came back, the depression came back. She thought that her whole dietary theory was wrong because it lasted so long and was so extreme. And it's like it took her 2 years to figure out that really what she could eat was beef and greens. And then she figured out that she could only eat beef. 2 years ago, she said, Dad, you have to try this diet because you have a lot of the same symptoms as me. Now, I didn't have arthritis, but I had a lot of the other symptoms. And I thought, I can try anything for a month. She said, try it for a month. I thought, okay, whatever. And my psoriasis disappeared. And I had floaters in my right eye, and they cleared up. And she said to me, quit eating greens. And I thought, oh, really? Jesus, Michaela, I'm eating cucumbers, lettuce, broccoli, and chicken and beef. It's like I have to cut out the goddamn greens? It's like, try it for a month. Okay, within a week, I was 25% less anxious in the morning. Within 2 weeks, 75%, and I've been better every single day. I'm better now, probably, than I've ever been in my life, and I haven't been taking antidepressants for a whole year. And I weigh 162 pounds. I've actually gained musculature. I've been doing some working out, but not a lot. And so I can sleep 6 hours a night, no problem. I wake up in the morning, I'm awake. If I take a 15-minute nap, that used to take me an hour to recover from, that's gone. Here's the coolest thing. I've had gum disease since I was 25. That's been serious enough to have, I've had to have minor surgical interventions, scraping and that sort of thing to keep it at bay. It's gone. I checked with my dentist, no inflammation. And that's associated with heart disease, by the way, gum inflammation and gingivitis. It's a good risk factor for heart disease. It means the systemic inflammation is gone. And it's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to recover from gingivitis. And my gums are in perfect shape. Depression is gone. I'm stronger. I can swim better. And my gum disease is gone. It's like, what the hell?
I think I overestimated. There's an obesity epidemic in North America, perhaps throughout the Western world. I think I overestimated the degree to which that was a consequence of a sedentary lifestyle, and overestimated the degree to which a lack of discipline was contributing to it. I think much more now that it's an illness.
Well, those are two different things though, aren't they? Discipline is self-control and illness is something out of your control.
Well, let's say you're overweight, you should exercise. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, actually the evidence that exercise will thin you down isn't that great. And maybe the reason that you're not exercising is because you're ill, not that you're ill because you're not exercising. So I have a lot more sympathy for the hypothesis that the obesity epidemic is actually a consequence of an illness, of a broad scale. Illness isn't exactly right. It's a dietary problem, fundamentally. And there are deep causes for that. I don't think we have any idea what causes arteriosclerosis. I think all of the dietary knowledge we have is rubbish. And partly because it's unbelievably difficult to do proper dietary studies. You can't do controlled studies. It's all correlational, and there's so many variables. I think the correlational studies are useless. Also, this all-meat diet, this all-beef diet has apparently cured my daughter. So,
who had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis?
Well, that was the original diagnosis, and it was idiopathic, which means we don't know what the hell's causing it. Yeah, but she's completely symptom-free. So that sort of thing makes you sit up and take notice because it doesn't make any sense.